As a girl finally getting her life together at 27, here's some big sis advice I wish I knew sooner. If you don't give yourself permission to live the life that you want, you will always hold resentment and jealousy towards the people that did. I really learned this from seeing how people reacted towards me choosing a non-traditional life and career. Like, I never really got people congratulating me or celebrating me. I didn't get any of that. The main thing that I got was silence. I like to call them ghosts, like the people that like literally sit and watch every single aspect of your life. Like, they don't have anything to say, they're just watching. Or the people that just give backhanded compliments, like, oh, I can never do that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Experiencing things like that just really made me realize that people will genuinely hold resentment towards you for achieving something that they convinced themselves wasn't possible for them. So when people act like that towards you, I promise you should really just pity them, because it shows you just how small their worldview and belief in themselves really is. Always meet disrespect with consequences. You need to realize that you don't automatically get respect. You need to demand it. The moment that somebody disrespects you, they need to face the consequences of their actions. And a consequence could be anything from you telling them off, you demoting their status in your life, or you removing them from your life completely. Use your own discretion for what you feel like the appropriate consequence is. But never, under any circumstances, ever let anybody get comfortable with disrespecting you. That's what you don't do. You always need to be number one in your own life. Who cares if other people think that that's selfish? You shouldn't be wrapped up in what other people think about you in the first place. Your job should never define who you are. If it does, that's your sign that you need to get some hobbies. People who have nothing to talk about but their jobs are the worst, most boring kind of people. So yes, if you feel called out, it's time for you to expand your knowledge, learn some new things. Definitely get a hobby, because I promise there is more interesting things to discuss than work.
Can I give y'all some more big sister advice real quick? Make the hard decisions now for the sake of your future self. Stop staying in situations because you're comfortable when you know it's not conducive to what you want and who you want to be in the future. For example, I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I knew for the lifestyle that I wanted to live in the future and for the woman I wanted to be, I could not stay there. So what did I do? I moved out of my parents' house with $600 in my pocket during a global pandemic. Yeah, I wasn't playing. Did I miss my parents? Yes. Did I miss the comfortability of not having any responsibilities? Yes. But guess what? I had to make that hard decision for the sake of my future self. And if I did not make that decision, I would not be living this lifestyle today. Even in relationships, I've dated guys that were good guys, but the work ethic sucked. And I knew what kind of wife and mother I wanted to be in the future. So instead of holding on to a situation that was not conducive to who I wanted to be, I left and I found my person. Make those hard decisions now. Yes, they will hurt, but guess what? Your future self will thank you. I know it's scary. Oh, but baby, it's gonna be worth it.
Girls, your 20s are crucial. We're oftentimes told that our 20s are for us to play around, mess up, do whatever, live, laugh, love. And I'm here to tell you, your 20s is for you to set your future self up for success. I'm not saying you won't make any mistakes, but the more intentional decisions you make now, the less you have to play clean up and catch up later on in life. Girls, let's get into the things that I did in my earlier 20s to set myself up for success. Number one, I didn't get pregnant. Because for one, no ring, no babies. Also knew that to get where I wanted to go, I needed to be able to move without having to consider anybody else. When I was broke, at least I was broke all by myself and I didn't have another mouth to feed. Okay. That freedom allowed me to chase opportunities with no hesitation. Everything that I did was for me. And speaking of me, number two, my earlier 20s was my season of selfishness. I did things that were beneficial for me. I poured into my dreams, my goals, my wants, my needs, and I didn't care how any of the things that I did made anybody else feel. Number three, I was fearless. If I wanted to do something, I did it, even if I'd never seen it be done before. I didn't need a blueprint. I am the blueprint. Okay. I moved out of my parents' house during COVID because I felt like it was the best move for me. If I didn't make that decision, my life would look totally different. And back to that selfish piece, I get DMs all the time of my girls letting me know that they want to move to a new city so bad, but their family depends on them for something. Please listen. Once you leave, they will adjust. Your family will find new routines and new ways to exist because they have to. You cannot spend your whole life carrying everybody else's load. They had their 20s. It's your turn. Number four, I trusted myself and I did not ask for a lot of advice. A lot of times people will give you advice based on their own fears, their own limitations, and it will paralyze you if you let it. And before you know it, your whole life is built up on projections of other people. I learned to listen to my own voice and trust my own decision making. Number five, I made the hard decisions early on. I cut off friends. I've left relationships, which a lot of you girls act like you cannot do. I wasn't afraid of struggling in the beginning. I literally slept on somebody's couch for about a month and a half. I knew that it was temporary, but I also knew that keeping my head down and grinding in that season was going to put me in a better position later on. A lot of y'all want the success without the process. You want instant results because social media has glamorized skipping steps. There's so much value in building from the ground up, and I'm so proud of my younger self for making those decisions. Next, I didn't let a man distract me. Any man in my life had to be an asset, and the man that I ended up being with invested in my future and didn't drain me like the men's y'all be with. Too many of y'all let men just sit in your face and bring nothing but struggle and confusion. If he's going to be there, he needs to be benefiting you in some way. I promise you, men are not that cool, hot, and fun for them to be bringing nothing to the table but vibes. And lastly, but most important, I built my own relationship with God. I grew up in church, but once I moved out of my parents' house, it became my choice to pray, my choice to read the word, my choice to go to church. I chose the Lord. I consulted with him before I made any major moves in my life. Also stopped trying to control every scenario. Girl, I just fell back and let him order my step. That has been the biggest game changer in my life. Girls, all in all, your 20s do not have to be chaos and wasted time. You will make some mistakes, but your 20s are about planting seeds and setting your future self up for success. Tighten up and get it together, or we're gonna have a problem.
Everybody wants you to be confident until you're actually confident. Everyone wants you to love yourself until you actually love yourself. They want you to put yourself first until you actually put yourself first. So choose the people around you wisely, because some people might be good friends when you're miserable. Probably not as good when you're doing good in life.
28 things I've learned in my 28 years. The real test of if you actually want something or if you just want to impress people is to ask yourself, would I still get this item if there was no social media to post this on? Or if no one would ever see me with it? The real flex in your 20s isn't living above your means to impress people on social media. The real flex in your 20s is being debt-free, having an 800 plus credit score, being a homeowner, having some savings for retirement, and investing. When it comes to investing, dating, and working, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Diversify. Diversify your investments, have options when you're dating, and try your best to have multiple streams of income. If you're an entrepreneur, you might be wasting your time encouraging some of your friends to become entrepreneurs. Not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. Some people are not self-starters and they need to have a boss and a structured working environment, and that's okay. When it comes to the workplace, you will facilitate more change by being entitled than by being grateful. I worked on Wall Street for 5 years, so I know how older people in corporate America can be. They'll tell you that you should be grateful when you raise any kind of concerns. And that's because they want to gaslight you into accepting less than what you know you deserve. But you got to remember that you worked for this job and you could be working somewhere else and making money somewhere else. It is not your job to save everybody. If that friend wants to stay in that toxic relationship, that is on her. If that coworker wants to continue getting underpaid and mistreated and doesn't want to speak up for themselves, that's on them. We are all adults now, and at some point, these people will have to grow up and fight their own battles. If your rights are ever violated in any capacity, if you're underpaid or mistreated in the workplace, or you've experienced any kind of bias, you should not be afraid to lawyer up. Motivation is great, but it is fleeting. You getting up every day, being disciplined, adhering to the schedule and the plan that you set out for yourself, regardless of how motivated you feel, that is what brings results. Marriage is not for everybody. Some of y'all are probably destined for the streets, and that's okay too. When people pick apart your appearance, for example, people on TikTok have recently been calling me big and fat. Remember that there are much worse things than being called names about your physical appearance. There are much worse things in the world than being called big or fat. I take that any day over being a hater and a bitter, insecure person who gets on the internet to project my insecurities onto others. You gotta recognize that it's not worth arguing with everyone. Some people are in desperate need of therapy, prayer, and deliverance, and there is nothing that you can say to them to get through to them. Stop wasting your time going back and forth with them and pray for them instead. Self-care isn't just getting your hair done or your nails done. Sometimes self-care is as simple as setting a schedule and sticking to it. There will be friends who self-select out of your life. Sometimes they're jealous of you and they can't stand your success, or they can't stand the attention you're getting, or they feel some type of way about it. Let those friends be free. You don't need that type of insecure energy in your friendship circle. Now that you're a grown up, you get to raise yourself now. You get to live by the standards that you value. So be intentional and have a good sense of the morals and principles that are important to you. Feel your emotions and acknowledge them, but don't allow them to overpower your intelligence. Learn to enjoy the seasons that you're in. When you're single, enjoy that season and don't compare yourself to those in relationships, and vice versa. Live by the 3 Ps: prayer, planning, and preparation. Look good. People can say whatever they want to say about you, but if they try to talk about your looks, you will immediately know that they're just a hater. Be very careful of people with a victim mentality who are always looking for sympathy. Stop focusing on what other people are doing and have tunnel vision when it comes to your goals. Gain different perspectives. Read something. You can be your own biggest critic, but you should be your biggest cheerleader first and foremost. If you can't say it from your real page with your chest, maybe you shouldn't be saying it at all. Love yourself, but respect yourself even more. Don't just look amazing, smell amazing.
And you will forever be confused until you realize that people can have more than you and still don't have more than you. Do you understand? People can have more than you financially and still do not have more than you. Yeah? Because sometimes when a friendship ends and it ends out of nowhere because a conversation was not had, I want you to understand that it wasn't out of nowhere. I want you to understand that a conversation was had, but you were not privy to said conversation. Your presence alone can irk somebody. Your spirit alone can irk somebody. The way how other people treat you can irk somebody. I'm somebody that stay by myself all the time. I don't like a crowd. I don't like being around a lot of people. People are drawn to me, and that irritates people. Because those same people that have everything, they still want that. They still want that icker effect that they don't have it. They're lackluster, they're dull, and you have a light that just radiates off of you naturally. It bothers people. The one thing that you cannot fake is authenticity. You can't buy a personality. You can't buy that. You can't fake it. And when you do, it shows, and people will call you out for it. And that is enough to make somebody that you thought was your friend absolutely despise you. Now they're not going to be jealous of you when you're beating them in a competition that you didn't even sign up for because it's one-sided, because they thought that their demons were stronger than your angels.
That thing that you're supposed to let go of that you keep holding on to is actually what's holding you back in life. My 30th birthday just passed. Here are some things I learned in my 20s so that you don't have to learn the hard way, okay? Romantic love cannot replace the self-love you have to build, or the familial love that you're missing out on, or the community that you're missing out on. He, she, they is not going to save you from the responsibilities you have for yourself. Even if you do everything right, you cannot avoid heartbreak. Live your life anyway. Don't spend too much time trying to avoid something that all of us have to go through at some point or another. Pain can really be a teacher if you let it be. Your 20s are for making mistakes and living your life, not obsessing over things that you cannot change. Being yourself is the greatest currency you will have in your 20s. The more you choose to bend for the desires of other people, the less currency you have. Having boundaries will be the hardest thing that you ever do, but also the bravest. Learn to listen to your gut early. Spend time with yourself so that you can understand what your gut is telling you. People don't care as much as you think they do. Majority of them are concerned with only themselves, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're any less worthy. It just means that people are concerned with other things at the moment. It might take a while before you find the right friends, but just know that the right people will never make you feel less than, ever. Take care of your body before your metabolism slows down. Take care of your mind so that you don't lose it when the challenges come up. Being skinny is not the greatest thing you'll ever do, so obsessing over it is really pointless. It's okay to forgive your parents and still never talk to them again, unless one day you feel ready to. Everything happens for a reason, but it's not your job to figure out that reason. It's your job to feel your feelings about whatever's happened so that you can move forward. 9 times out of 10, that no that you received saved your life or positioned you for an even greater life. Everything does work out in your favor if you let it. That's the trick. That thing that you're supposed to let go of that you keep holding on to is actually what's holding you back in life. Every time I let go of that thing I thought I couldn't live without, my life got exponentially better after. Everything and everyone you love is not meant to last forever. How you think people are perceiving you really is just a projection of how you feel about yourself. Once you start being nicer to yourself, you won't care what other people think about you. Find a hobby outside of making money so that you can keep your creative brain flowing. Read books outside of self-help books so that you can keep your imagination going. Your imagination is what will keep you hopeful. You don't have to go to school, but I would highly recommend it. What you do now for work may not be what you always do, and that's okay. Learn to pivot. Be okay with pivoting. Basically, go with the flow. You know nothing. Once you know that you know nothing, you'll have everything, okay? Nothing lasts forever, but you should always love it anyway. You're gonna be okay.
If I had a little sister in her 20s, this is exactly what I would tell her, which I wish someone would have told me. Make the hard decisions early. Make the hard decisions early. Your 20s are for exploring. Your 20s are for you to lean into discomfort. Your 20s are for the challenging. You hear me? If there's something that you're interested in, go for it. Don't shy away from the challenge. Like, be super ambitious about those goals that you have for yourself. It's your race. Don't let your degree define you. For my college girlies, your degree, your major is not your final destination. It's just not. Sometimes you need work experience to figure out if this is what you're truly interested in. Understand me, you are allowed to pivot. Coming from the girlie who has a degree in sports management, worked in the sports industry for 4 years, and then made a pivot into finance. You can do anything you want to do, babes. Lastly, leave the house. Leave the house. Sometimes we say leave your hometown. If you don't have the courage enough to do that, leave the house. It could be dorming. It could be finding your own space. You will learn so much about yourself being able to operate in an independent space. Time management, scheduling, how to navigate your own life. You got this. And that's just some big sister advice from me to you. I love you.
Let your friends make bad choices, okay? Let them. I have officially become the oh wow friend, but that's crazy friend. Unless you ask me directly, I am not offering advice. I am not offering my opinion. I'll listen to you, I'll let you vent, and then I'll change the subject. Let me tell you why. I used to be the person that would try and fix my friends' problems. And I would get so annoyed when my friends would come to me complaining about something just to turn around and go do the exact same thing. Like, we all have that one friend, right? They know better. They do. They just actively choose not to do better. It gets to a certain point where you stop feeling bad for them and you start feeling annoyed at them. What I realized for me is that I was investing too much of my emotional energy into problems that had nothing to do with me. And it's hard. When you love someone, when you want the best for them, when you see in them sometimes what they don't even see in themselves, it is hard to watch them make choices that you know are keeping them stuck, that you know are holding them back from living their fullest potential. But the thing is, if someone doesn't see their worth, there is nothing you as a friend can do to make them see it. If someone doesn't want a better life for themselves, there is nothing you as a friend can do to make them want it. 9 times out of 10, you are wasting your time. You are wasting your breath and you are wasting your emotional energy. You don't have to co-sign bad behavior to be a good friend, but you also don't have to serve as a rehabilitation center for people who know better and just choose not to do better.
I have a younger sister who just turned 20, and one of the advice I always give her is stop giving a fuck about people's opinions, no matter who. I told her, even me, that's your older sister, start decentering my own opinions about things you want to do. Because if you have your heart set to something, if you have your heart set to achieving something, and the person who you're asking for advice hasn't done it before, hasn't been in that space, and will probably never be in that space, why the hell are you seeking their opinions? Why do you give a hoot what they care about what you're going to do? What will people say is one of the easiest ways to not live in your purpose. What will people say? Do people think I'm cringe? What do you think about this thing I'm about to achieve? What do you think about this goal? Is it a cool goal to have, or is it a bad goal to have? That is one of the silliest things you could do to yourself, because now you're setting it in your subconscious that you cannot do anything outside of the approval of people. And that's not good for you. That's not good for the goals you've set for yourself to achieve on this earth. It's not at all. Stop seeking people's approval, because let me tell you, it's not everybody that has your good in mind. And even if they do, a lot of people want you to play safe. We know that if you're trying to pivot careers, they're like, it's not safe. How much do those people make before they actually accept your career? It is actually very sad. It's not necessarily that they wish you bad or they don't wish you well. They're just trying to play safe, and they're trying to keep you in a box. They're trying to keep you within the confines of what they know. So what I'm going to need you to do is stop caring about their opinions. If there's something you want to go for, you're strongly led to go for it, you've prayed about it, God has given you the go ahead, please, by all means, go for your goals and stop caring. Stop trying to please people. Stop trying to tell what they'll just stop it and go for what you want. Okay?